Hulk versus bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Okay, now that I have everybody's attention with that, what a start for this review. Let's talk about Hulk versus. This is an animated feature composed of two separate stories, Hulk versus Wolverine and Hulk versus Thor. Surprisingly, I think that Hulk versus Thor is the better piece of animation of the two. And why is that? I liked it more because it just felt a lot more epic, as it should, because it's about Thor, who is a god, and it takes place in Asgard. The story was actually a story, whereas in Hulk vs. Wolverine we don't really have a story. We just have like an excuse to see lots and lots of fighting. But in Hulk vs. Thor, you really get the sense of more of a story. You get a bit of character development, especially for Bruce Banner, because there's this situation that is very similar to the story for the Man Who Has Everything with Superman. So you have a little bit of character development for Bruce Banner. You also have character development for Thor, who really gets to kick some ass. Maybe the voice acting wasn't the best for Thor, but I really liked what he got to do. He didn't sound silly at all because of the way he spoke. None of the Asgardian characters sounded silly at all, which is always kind of a concern when you translate something from the comic book where they speak in a certain way to animation or even live action. Another thing I think Hulk vs. Thor has over Hulk vs. Wolverine is the better supporting cast, because Loki was great, Amora, I don't mind saying, for a cartoon character, Amora is pretty hot. We got to explore a lot of Asgard. We even got to visit the realm of Hela, which is their goddess of the dead, and that was great. In Hulk vs. Wolverine, we got basically another version of Wolverine's origin story, which, let's face it, we all know by now. Everything that happens in Hulk vs. Wolverine is kind of, it starts out with kind of like a crumb of a story, and then by the end of it, it just completely dissolves and just turns into this bloodbath. Limbs come flying off, there's blood everywhere, people are thrown through roofs and buildings and walls, everybody's fighting everybody, nobody's on anybody's side, it's just like, it's pandemonium. But Lady Deathstrike gets to do some stuff and gets to say some things, but honestly she just feels like an anime character that kind of lost her way and ended up in a non-anime cartoon, and I'm not the biggest anime fan. The animation, I think, was great. The fight scenes were very well choreographed, and really, 2D animation is my first love, and I hope that at least with superhero features and superhero cartoons, we can still keep 2D animation, at a certain high level of quality and not have it be replaced with 3D animation. Hulk vs. Thor is the epic story, and Hulk vs. Wolverine is the bloodbath. Again, Deadpool is in Hulk vs. Wolverine. He's one of my favorite all-time characters. What do I think about his characterization in Hulk vs. Wolverine? Well, he was funny, he got some cool moments, he even switches sides at some point. The voice acting, well, it's not how I imagined Deadpool to sound, but the actor who played him, Nolan North, really had fun with the role. You can sense that. You can sense that this guy had a blast voicing this character, and I think that's very important for any actor who plays Deadpool, whether it's animation or live action. He should really not take this job too seriously, but at the same time he should be a professional, and I think that the guy who voiced Deadpool definitely had fun and was definitely professional. So all in all, I think Hulk vs. could have been a bit more balanced, but each story is different, it's unique in its own way, and each story has, for the type of story it represents, I think it does pretty well. So regardless of the fact that they are very different, you still have 78-80 minutes of solid, entertaining animation.